Good morning, 7th graders. Today we are learning theoretical and experimental probability. And the difference in those two is very simple. Experimental probability is actually doing an experiment and getting results. And then theoretical is where somebody says, this is the result of an experiment. You didn't do the experiment. So like, you've heard people talk, well, theoretically, what should happen or what could happen, but not technically, that wasn't the result. So basically, it's kind of the same thing, except experimental is actually doing the experiment and getting the results, where theoretical is calculating the probability of getting those results, okay? Okay, so we're going to do a theoretical or experimental probability of a number cube is rolled 24 times and it lands on 2 4 times and 6 3 times. So the first part of this, we're going to find out what is the experimental probability of it landing on 2, and then B is going to be not landing on 6, okay? So we're going to have to unpack a lot that's in here. So a number cube is actually a die, but we're not allowed to say dice because that is equated with gambling, and apparently that's bad. So a number cube, a dice. So we know that that has 6 numbers on it, 1 through 6. Okay. So the number cube is rolled 24 times. So they roll it 24 times, and it lands on 2 4 times. Okay. So we want to find what is the experimental probability of it landing, because this is actually this was actually experimented and done. So we're going to find the experimental probability of it landing on 2. So here we go. We need to have our labels. So I'm going to start with the probability of 2 out of total chances. Okay? So the probability, well, first let's start with our total chances. How many times did it have a chance to land on 2? It was rolled 24 times. So our total chances are 24. Okay, how many times did it actually land on 2? It says it lands on 2 4 times. So 4 out of 24, but we know that that can get smaller because it's an even number on top of an even number, and we need to simplify that. And we can actually simplify it by 4. 4 will go into it. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 24 divided by 4 is 6. So the experimental probability of it landing, rolling a dice 24 times this experiment, it landed on 2 1 out of 6 rolls. So 1 out of every 6 rolls, it landed on 2. Okay, that's pretty easy. All right, so not landing on 6. Okay, so the probability of no 6. Probability of no 6 over total chances. Okay, we had 24 total chances again. And how many times did it not land on 6? Okay, so if we look at this, we don't know how many times it didn't land on 6. We just know that it landed on 6 3 times. Okay, so if it landed on 6, they rolled it, they landed on 6 3 times out of 24 rolls, how many times was it not on 6? So we have to do 24 minus 3, and we get 21, okay? So 21 out of 24 times. Now, that can get smaller, too, because we can divide. We can simplify by 3. So if we simplify by 3, 3 will go into 21, and it will go into 24. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. So 7 out of 8 rolls, it did not land on 6. Did not land on 6. 7 out of 8 rolls. Okay. Okay, so next set of probability questions we're going to do, we're going to use a table, and it's the best entertainment value. They surveyed, I guess, 100 people, because when you total this up over here on the side, 9 and 1 is 10, and 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30, and 48 and 22 plus 30 is 100. Okay, so you do need to find the total. So they they surveyed 100 people. This is percentage-wise. Well, actually, we don't know how many people they totaled that they surveyed, but we do know that it adds up to be 100% when you add these percentages up. All right, so types of entertainment. Interactive games, 48%. Reading books, 22%. Renting movies, 10%. Going to the movies, 10%. Surfing the internet 9%. And watching TV, 1%. So we obviously know that this is not actually asking kids because all you boys are playing interactive games. Not very many of you are reading books, not 22% of you. Movies, Netflix and chilling, and TV. So, all right. So I have some notes over here. So the first one they want to know is what is the experimental probability that people would be reading or surfing the internet out of this? Okay, so we know this totals up to be 100. If you don't believe me, add it up. Okay, so reading and surfing the internet. So reading books and surfing the internet. I have RB for reading books, SI for surfing internet, and we're going to put that over total. As you know, we have to have labels, okay? So reading books. We had 22% reading books. They want us to put this answer in fraction. And surfing the internet was 9. So 22 plus 9 over 100. And when you add that up, it is 31% of 100. So 31, this is a fraction, would be 31 out of 100, either read books or surf the internet, okay? So the next one is we're going to use this, same thing, reading books. I hate when it does that. Okay. So we're still going to use the 31 out of 100, reading the books or surfing the internet, okay? But now the next part wants to know if they surveyed 500 people, because these are percentages. So let's say they surveyed 500 people. They want to know how many we would expect to be reading books or surfing the internet. So reading books, surfing the internet out of total. Okay, so we know that 31% out of 100%. Now we want to know how many we could expect, how many people would be either reading books or surfing the internet if we surveyed 500 people. Okay, so the total, we're going to set up a proportion. Okay, so the total people that we surveyed would be 500. And we want to figure out how many would be reading books or surfing the internet. Okay, so we're going to multiply this, cross multiply and then divide. So 31 times, I'm going to cross multiply and then divide by 100. And I'm leaving these zeros hanging off. So I got 15,500, but I've got to divide by 100. So 15,500 divided by 100. 100 goes into 155 one time. And we have 55 left over. 100 goes into 555 times. And then, so we can expect 155 people if they surveyed 500 people. We wanted to know out of those 500 people, how many were reading the books or surfing the internet, and we would have gotten 155 of them because these are percentages. All right, so if you have a question, please raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to help.